Glad TV News Channel 5. These are the top stories. A pro-democracy group, Human Rights Watch Forum, has released a report in which it said the police is the most corrupt institution in Liberia. But police authorities say the report is a perception of the group and promise to respond. Members of the Liberian Senate have unanimously voted to review the consensus agreement with Methodsty and other agreements. Members of the Liberian Senate have finally concurred with the Code of Conduct bill. Thousands of citizens have expressed disappointment in the ruling of the Civil Law Court and the imprisonment of Front Page Africa publisher Rodney C.A. The head of probation at the Ministry of Justice says the level fee bill passage is unconstitutional, and the Painsway Adria Academy has been demolished by order of the court. These are the top stories on Glad TV Channel 5. Stories. A pro-democracy group, Human Rights Watch Forum, has released a report in which it said the police is the most corrupt institution in Liberia.
Oversight board, or an independent oversight board, in order to accept public complaints from or about police corruption, abuse, and other issues. So President Sirleaf actually proposed this board a year ago, and it still has not been enacted. So we're asking for a timeline for this institution to be set up and to make sure it's really strong. The second is for the government to complete an independent audit of the Liberian National Police in order to ensure that the resources the police do receive are accounted for, and that it's really understood where some of these shortfalls are with corruption and abuse. And the third main recommendation is to strengthen the anti-corruption institutions that already exist here, making sure that the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission, the General Auditing Commission, the Professional Standards Division, that all these divisions are as aggressive as they possibly can be and are not weak because of poor staffing, resource issues, whatever it may be. Finally, for the international community, we're asking that they too engage in strengthening these independent anti-corruption institutions, and also that they help the police track their resource and develop a resource management system. Anti-corruption reports, we already found out that it's very hard. So on my part of this site here, I have Oscar Blow. He supplies logistics that are given to the Liberian National Police, and how those supplies and logistics are distributed on the ground, and whether they're making it to the depots, and then once they get to the depots, that those supplies are well used and not being misallocated for improper purposes. So I'm going to end the description of the report there, but I would like to turn it over to my esteemed.
That was Valerie Brenda of Human Rights Watch Fellow Africa releasing the report which highlights massive corruption within the Liberian National Police. However, in reaction to the Human Rights Fellow report, the Deputy Director for Operations at the Liberian National Police, Abraham Koroma, and other senior police officers termed the report as being the perception of the group. The police authorities said they will formally respond to the Human Rights Watch Fellow's report at the appropriate time.
Concern, this is a report, this is a PhD dissertation of an individual perception. We've had meetings with them, the director have had meetings, all of us have had meetings with them. At the end of the day, the government of Liberia, the police administration will come up with a candidate, potent views of the situation, where you will find the views that will be a little bit counter to what you say.
Reactionary.
And that will be forthcoming to the leadership of the
Are you saying
now,
the credibility of the report is
questionable
questionable?
on corruption in the police as someone's PhD presentation?
Well, it's an institutional report, we agree, but we also have a systematic approach towards people's perception.
But you refer to it as someone's perception. It is a
Well, it is
report.
an institution is run by someone.
So are you disappointed?
Your feeling is final. Are you disappointed?
My feeling is not very warranted.
You are one of the heads of the police, so why
yes.
don't you tell us how you feel about this report?
My feeling is not what you should come from here.
So to work on the recommendations of this report?
The police as an organization will respond to it cogently and efficiently.
You think this kind of man you're working at?
What cue have you taken from this report?
Ahead of
What
the
cue have you taken from this report?
The cue you see from this report will be presented to you to the leadership of the Liberia National.
So are you saying that the report is not credible?
As soon as possible, the Liberia National Police, through the Ministry of, and as well as the Ministry of Information, will give you a cogent view as to where we are with regards to the particular.
It's not the first time for Liberia Police to use phones. So why?
I think we should have a thicker skin than what you think we have. And like I said, the leadership of the Liberia National Police will provide to you a report that will be as positive as possible.
This seems out a bad signal for Liberia National Police.
You know that very well, that we spend all of our time trying to respond and make this place a better place for all of us.
So you think the report doesn't correspond?
At least
The Liberia National Police will provide you a content and content.
And you seem to be embarrassed.
I am the most, this is my face.
Why are you boycotting?
I'm running to another meeting.
That was the Deputy Director of Police for Operation, Colonel Abraham Nkrumah, debunking the statement by Human Rights Fellows Watch report. Members of the Liberian Senate has voted unanimously to direct the executive branch of government to allow the revisitation of the operation of Metal Steel and other consensus companies operating in the country. According to a complaint filed to the Committee on Consensus and Investment by citizens, indicated that Metal Steel has failed to build adequate schools, medical facilities, and other infrastructures as contained in the agreement. However, Metal Steel, in a communication to plenary, said progress will be made in the next few years with a close collaboration with the legislature. However, the complaint was debated by senators in plenary to ensure that the company complies with the contract signed with the government. Here is the debate in plenary session today.
Resuscitated the iron ore industry in Liberia and rebuild the infrastructure within the townships. We note the points raised by you and your fellow senators and would like to acknowledge that we are making continuous progress in all our MDA commitments and continue to be an important development partner for Liberia with our current investments to date. Our demonstrated commitment to construct phase 2 will bring further progress in the next few years. Our compliance with the MDA continues to be closely monitored by the government of Liberia through its agencies such as the Ministry of Land, Mines and Energy, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Justice, and the National Bureau of Concessions. The points that have been raised, especially on schools, hospitals, housing, training facilities, like the Vocational Training Institute, and the employment of Liberians are key items for us, and will have measurable progress made over the coming months. We will remain engaged with the Honorable Legislature to ensure that we meet the clear deliverables that the committee raised. Please accept our kind regards and assurances of collaboration with the Honorable Legislature in promoting the sustained development of Liberia and private sector-led growth. Sincerely, Ammonia Mariah, Chief Executive Officer.
Well, the issues raised in the committee document, which I strongly believe are the very issues that are contained in a complaint from a member. We want cordial relationship with the company. We do not want, let me say, we do not want any major data situation in Liberia. They are very exploitative. I don't know what they are depending on. But we are prepared to politically or socially resist all of the exploitative maneuvers. But we look up to the Liberia Senate to come to
and dangerous levels of iron and the different minerals that are extracted from this mine. It poses additional risk to the health. So I pray that the Liberian Senate, thanks to the fact that it has been attested by the committee, that all pressure be brought upon ArcelorMittal to improve the health facilities at two of these hospitals that have played a pivotal role in the health system of this country, and that they must live up to their agreement.
Ratification. So, therefore, I'm not only suggesting one, but all must be looked at. And if amendment needs to be done, we should do it and make sure that we do the Nigerian code business the right way so that this country can be saved.
The passage of the joint resolution mandating the executive branch of government to renegotiate a certain portion of the concession agreement, especially so with Metal Steel. Instead of coming here to amend and to do some amendment that will be in their favor. Metal Steel, according to the what we observe, has now fully complied with the MDA. If we drove from here and went to Yekepa, Mr. Presiding Officer will enter the house and everybody that was shot from the room. I want to do description from the room straight into the bedroom into the kitchen. And we thought that was unacceptable for our people. 10 different positions have been occupied as we speak by non-Liberians who are not even qualified compared to some of our Liberians here. We raised the issue, and that's still said they're going to do 1 month and they're going to act. And I'm sure that was the reason why the report was delayed administratively to ensure that they're going to do, but they have failed. And we must do it. There is the time that we act now, or we don't have the time to act again.
That were senators debating complaint against Metal Steel. Members of the Liberian Senate have finally concurred with the Code of Conduct Bill for all government officials. The bill has been languishing in committee room for a series of unexplained reasons. However, the senators unanimously concur with the bill, which will now be sent to the president for signature or rejection if deemed necessary. However, the president has the right to make amendment or reject if there's any portion that violates the Constitution.
On the item of the legislature prescribing a code of conduct for all public officials and employees of the 3 branches of government of Liberia and parastatal bodies be presented for its third and final reading today.
Yeah, read it.
Senate and distinguished senators, let me thank all of us senators of the 54th legislature, but not only here, let me thank you for mustering the courage to have worked on this long-awaited code of conduct. This document, to my understanding, has been there from the 52nd legislature. And we came in the 53rd and made it. It's a milestone for our country today that we're going to pass this code of conduct that will guide the entire governing process of our country. And while the passage is on the floor, some of our colleagues kept on calling for a particular caption to be read. It has to do with point 90.1. And that says that when you are appointed, upon your appointment, you must sign onto this code of conduct. Meaning, it becomes binding on you as a public official to abide by this code of conduct. Having said that, I move that if I can obtain a second, taking into account all the cleanings that were done, that this document be passed into law, adopted and passed into law by this plenary.
Second motion.
On the floor, all those in favor, make it known by show of hands.
Very good. I show of hands.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the Liberian Senate,
The result of the vote is unanimous.
Unanimous.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the Liberian Senate, the result of the vote is unanimous.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. You can all clap for yourself.
That was senators unanimously voting for the Code of Conduct bill. Thousands of citizens have expressed serious disappointment with the ruling from the Civil Law Court over the imprisonment of Front Page Africa managing editor Rodney Sear. According to some of the citizens, they accused the former agriculture minister, Dr. Christo, of embezzling millions of US dollars. Our judicial correspondent Tamba Johnny has the details and file in this report.
The Civil Law Court ruling against the Front Page Africa managing editor, Rodney Sear. They have found Rodney Sear $1.5 million labels. This money should have been paid to former agriculture minister Dr. Christo for defamation of character. But the situation on ground here has taken a different dimension. You have citizens of Liberia, opposition political parties, including the main opposition Congress for Democratic Change, the CDC has expressed interest in today's process, and you have activists, the medias, they are here showing some level of solidarity. They are saying that Rodney Sear have done no wrong in this publication of the story against the former agriculture minister, Dr. Christo. That the allegation against Dr. Christo, that he was met by the GSC, that he was convicted of this a man being embezzled by this brother, that money being allocated, millions of dollars that were allocated by the government of Liberia for the fight against army war. Today, the citizens are at the floor of the temple of justice here, giving them their own analysis, and police officers, the PSU, the ERU, they are trying to give a chance here to see how bad that they could escort Rodney Sear to the Monrovia Central Prison, but they are finding it difficult in the hands of the citizens here. You have thousands and thousands of our brothers showing some level of solidarity on the ground here today. When you look around the corridor, we are going up to 5 o'clock now. Most of the protesters are saying that they have been to a wrongful direction in the interest of justice today. But who are we going to listen to is the major question. The arbiters of justice, the Supreme Court have ruled in this proceeding. But the citizens, they are saying that this is a wrong judgment. How can they determine the situation on ground? This is the number of people that you are seeing here. You have the PhD, the ERU, and some international journalists, they are watching this event. And Rodney Sear have been held hostage here, and protesters continue to agitate here. Security forces, and we have the president, the president of the public affairs of NOCA. You have Israel Agisai trying to carry out some negotiations to see how best that this brother can be escorted. But the protesters are saying no. No to this. Are we going to listen to the court, the arbiters of justice, or the citizens of Liberia? The question remains in limbo. As the drama continues, the entire time the temple of justice remains guarded, as our brother Rodney Sear remains in the hands of the police. This to draw their attention that the case of Darlington Perina. A few years in 2012, July the 25th, Darlington Perina was accused of armed robbery. He was taken to the school and he was exonerated from this process. Not only him, in 2011, the Royal Communication Power FM, Love FM, they were actually being brought to the court by the government for preaching hate messages. They were set free into this process. Several government officials have been brought before this court. The last of the former information minister, Dr. Lawrence Dr. was brought here, and he exonerated himself from this process. And the Indian leaders, Judith Bryan, Judith Bryan, were brought to the court and exonerated himself. And even the current representative, Edwin was brought before this court, and he exonerated himself. About what happened? The citizens, they are calling that Dr. Christo need to come to the court and provide justifiable reason on these millions of dollars that have been channeled from this court. From the judicial branch of government, Cloud TV News, Tamba Johnny.
That was our judicial correspondent Tamba Johnny with that report on the imprisonment of Front Page Africa manager and publisher Rodney Sear. The head of probation at the Ministry of Justice says the level field playing bill passed by the 53rd National Legislature is a violation of the Liberian Constitution. Mr. Ali Sila, in addressing hundreds of youth on Kerry Street, says the bill is intended to marginalize a cross-section of citizens and promote order for their selfish aim. The youth advocate called on youth to join him in a campaign against the concurrence of the bill by the Senate because it is anti-constitutional.
Level playing field don't pass in the Senate. If it does pass in the Senate, we need to make sure that the president vetoed that bill. If the president signed it, then we need to take it to the Supreme Court. Because any matter in our country that linked to our constitutionality, which means the functions of our society, if those constitutions have been violated, we need to make sure that the process of democratization, we need to make sure to abide by those processes. And that process is very clear. That process is very clear. If the House, because of our statutes, we have a bill of statutes in our country, and that statutes come from our Constitution, and that statutes is stipulated in there, every law is amended based on the statutes. And that law, if those laws violate our constitutional rights, that means that law is null and void. But we'll get to the process of our lawmaker, our honorable in the House of Representatives, who went ahead and passed that bill because we call it the 4G bill. 4G or G4, one of them, right? But they passed that bill because they did not understand the process of proper representation of our law. And that process is very clear in terms of the functions of the lower house. Proper representation, legislative law, and oversight responsibility. Oversight responsibility of the government is not, especially the executive and the judiciary, is not abiding by all of the things that is necessary based on budgetary allotment, then the oversight responsibility come in place. Then the other one is proper representation of our people. I think I would like to call it more of a discriminatory bill or segregated bill. This playing field bill, they call it the playing field bill. If you look at where in the USA, and that law was there for federal employees. The federal employees of the different states, there were violations of those people who are representing those federal employees of different federal states because they were endorsing candidates and also people were using their job facility to make sure political actors or politicians come there and lobby for.
That was youth advocate Ali Sila commenting on the level playing field bill passed by the House of Representatives. Amidst calls to strengthen the land reform policy of Liberia, the Painesville Adrian Academy was over the weekend demolished by order of the Civil Law Court at the Temple of Justice in Monrovia. The school, which runs kindergarten to senior high level, paid a host to over 500 students in the Painesville Congo Town community. According to the proprietor of the institution, Mr. Josiah T. Better, his institution was broken down without him getting any legal notification from the court. Our reporter Jackson Foyofire was at the demolition site, then he has filed this report.
700 students here that evolved both the kindergarten to the senior high division, and the principal and the proprietor of the school is now complaining that the way in which his school was demolished wasn't the rightful means, and this is now the proprietor of the school making his comment.
Okay, the Portuguese disagreement that things will be peaceful. Okay, just Wednesday I was at the court again, and I even spoke with Judge Control. He said yes, that is the situation. But to my utmost surprise this morning, this is what happened. The land has been on land. Okay, we are talking about the school was situated on 2 lots that was bought, and we built the school. The school has been here since 2004. The court came up with some decision that the land was not the one, and we should leave, took on the hill, and we have been. But we were not even dreaming of that.
And you weren't informed, you weren't given a
We did not receive any paper, we're not even getting anything, we're not informed of anything as we speak.
So what do you think your next step is?
The next step, what we are looking at first is this. Our next step is to look at the students, because we have most of our students are registered. What can be done for them? We can't throw them out. So we are negotiating with the owner of this unfinished building and his yard to see how best he can give it to us for 1 year. And to see, because come up with some temporary shelter, the student must go to school. And that is our.
As you can see behind me, to Mr. Bella, the decision to demolish the school was not in the right form, because according to him, he wasn't informed, wasn't aware of the demolition of this place. And some students now are saying that they will not be in school for the 2013-2014 academic year. This has sparked up another heated debate within this area.
Open last year, the King Water using bring the thing down for the agreement and 5 years. 5 years to at least start school. For the other, to our ultimate surprise, that just
They are so much disappointed.
This is a setback to 1,000 of Liberians. There's a setback. And you see, this is where Russia comes from. Then they say we want to bring Liberia up. We are not bringing Liberia up. We are so much disappointed. To do something about it, because we are not building Liberia. We are killing Liberia dream. Thank you.
I finished my school already. When I finished, so sad because I don't even know what to do. I'm feeling so unfair this year. Yeah, I already paid my school fee rent. So please, want to call me because they get break school and they say they're breaking school and they're breaking the whole lot of brother because they're playing our teacher and we are in the 12th day. We elementary school and we'll people tell us school to school. So please, want to please help us because right now we don't want to do. They're breaking our school and they're playing our left. Please play our.
And Mr. Bernard is calling on the government of Liberia to the Minister of Education to see to it that this issue is resolved. As we speak, the school is now finding place to put themselves into so that the students who have already registered for the 2013 academic year will vote for that academic year. So this is how it's like here at the Congo Town area after Monrovia. Reporting for Clark TV Channel 5, my name is Jackson.
That was our reporter Jackson Foyofire there at the demolition of the Adrian Academy in Painesville outside Monrovia. And now to recap Clark TV Channel 5 News, here are the major developments once again. A pro-democracy group, Human Rights Watch Forum, has released a report in which it said the police is the most corrupt institution in Liberia. But police authorities say the report is a perception of the group and promise to respond shortly. Members of the Liberian Senate have unanimously voted to review the consensus agreement with Metal Steel and other consensus agreements. Members of the Liberian Senate have finally concurred with the Code of Conduct Bill passed by the House of Representatives, and thousands of citizens have expressed disappointment in the ruling of the Civil Law Court and the imprisonment of Front Page Africa managing editor and publisher Rodney C.A. The head of probation at the Ministry of Justice says the level playing field bill is unconstitutional, and the Painesville Adrian Academy has been demolished by order of the court. That's Clark TV News Channel 5. I'm T. Michael Johnny.